Giants were 24-16 winners when they last visited this ground back in May last year. Chris Thorman was in caretaker charge of the Giants side that day. Simon Wolford now in charge, and hoping that these changes he's made will galvanise the Giants and give them the impetus to hold their slide towards the Super League trapdoor, because that is what's beckoning for Huddersfield if they don't get their act together. Krishnan Inu gets this game underway. Huddersfield in this change strip in possession at the start of this crucial game. And they're up against a Salford side also looking to make amends after performing below par, according to their coach, against Wigan last time out. So they have got a bit of a point to prove here this evening.
We've talked at length, sorry Bill, we've talked at length about the motivation of both sides before this match, but ultimately it comes down to who goes into this game with the right game plan, implements that game plan, keeps the discipline, because that's been important. Big charge from Mickey Heehee forward, an offload at the back end of it. Both talked about how important it is, but Simon Wolford lamenting his side's ill-discipline with and without the ball.
That's a welcome for Craig Johnson back in the side for his first appearance of the year, and he gets dumped by the Giants' defence.
Bill, you'll almost see a side that's not playing well start really strong. They'll carry the ball well, they'll defend, they'll come out with the line, they'll look to hit you, hurt you, but it's how they can do it over 80 minutes when they're not used to winning and closing games down.
Here's Chris Wellham now, approaching 300 career appearances. Wellham is experienced centre. Tyrone McCarthy, as Salford edge their way into Hull Kingston Rovers territory. And now Jackson Hastings, the man of the moment. Generally speaking, the ball's put down and Salford look to capitalise. Error at the back by Senior. And this could be a big chance for the Red Devils. Here is Dudson now. Holmes down low, Aaron Murphy doing the tackling. Here's Hastings now. Hastings to Josh Jones. Jones skirting through and then round the Huddersfield defence. He's held up over the line. Very nearly found a way over, did Josh Jones.
He knows how important it is, Ian Watson, to kick that ball high in the air. He was under some pressure from Lannan, wasn't he, Senior? Makes the mistake. Just held up here.
Lussick sends McCarthy close, and McCarthy has got that ball down. The Giants absolutely caught cold there, and Tyrone McCarthy gets his first try of the season. An ominous start for the Huddersfield Giants. McCarthy, the man to profit from that error.
Well, your second set of 60, you have to defend. They concede a try on the back of it. Just hard work, straight and hard from McCarthy. There's three players in front of him here. He just comes up and hits the lead ball of Jackson Hastings. Three players can't contain him, can't hold him up. Real poor defence.
Well, I'm looking at Darnell McIntosh in the centre. I'm looking at Innes at fullback. It was his brother that dropped the high ball. Wicked kick that it was. Meat and drink for a player, an outside back, and talked in the studio about how these young players have been brought in to invigorate this back line, bring some energy and enthusiasm. Well, it's not gone well so far. Salford 4, possibly 6-0 up.
Yeah, with Krishnan Inu in fine form with the boots, there's every chance he's going to improve on this. And he doesn't. 81% success rate. Krishnan Inu has hardly missed since he's joined the club and taken on the goal-kicking duties.
Well, Salford know that in games you have to take your chances. It's exactly what they've done here. You said that was less than half a chance for McCarthy, but he's turned it into the first 4 points. You talk about Salford winning here. If they do manage to go on and win this game, they go 4th in the Super League table. You know, by my memory, I reckon you'd have to go back to the 1970s, the last time that Salford would be 4th after 20 games of a season, you know, of a league competition. It's an amazing achievement when most people, in fact the two pundits and myself here alongside me, would have predicted them to be at the bottom of the table, not near the top, particularly after 20 games. What Ian Blease, the chief exec, and Ian Watson, the coach, have done has been remarkable so far in 2019.
It's Johnson again, so Tyrone McCarthy celebrating his 100th Super League appearance with the opening try of this game. Tui Lolohea now. Home debut for the former Leeds man, made just 17 appearances for the Rhinos, and then travelled cross-country with Robert Louis going in the opposite direction. Lussick, Hastings, Alex Mellor gets a hold of the Red Devils ringleader.
As usual, very prominent in the early stages. That's a nice kick from Lolohea.
Lolehea's kick, another high one, this time.
Ian Watson talked, didn't he, about that partnership. It's just got to be allowed to, I suppose it's organically melt and mould and infuse together. Sixes and sevens learn each other's traits and habits, and who better to take them through it than an ex-half-back in Ian Watson.
Huddersfield's in possession with Paul Clough. Very seasoned campaigner, Kahifo. And the ball goes wide to Wardle. Wardle with some pace. This is Jacob Wardle, younger brother. Joe, the senior member of the clan. Holmes indicates movements, then floats a long pass out. Here's Alex Mellor. Mellor keeping the ball alive, back in field, but that's going to be Salford's ball. That was risky from Huddersfield.
Well, they thought they saw some space over on the left-hand side when Lolohea wedged in. I think the poor defensive read out wide, and then all of a sudden they go for it. They think they have them, but then on the next play, they can't get to the kick. On the back of that, they give the penalty away.
And Simon Wolford has continually mentioned, talked and criticised his players. Discipline with, which is when the loose pass, risky offload the last time they had the ball, and then discipline without, which is giving needless penalties away. You can just see Ike Hifo keeps hold, clamps hold, and it's a second too long for the referee.
Release the ball! Hold!
So from the penalty, Salford advancing once again. Ben Nakumbawai, the Fijian international.
Hold, go to.
40 metres out now. Here's the try scorer, Tyrone McCarthy, the Irish international.
They tend to get Niall Evans, the fullback, involved here at some point in this set.
That's the prediction from Phil Clark.
Let's see. Not come off, is it? He's the next man along there.
It was on though, wasn't it?
Time still for them to put that together. Instead, they come to this side of the field, and Lolohea floats the pass, and McGilvray snaps it up, and then flings the ball back in field, and Salford are back in possession and could yet profit here.
Again, Bill, from a very, very experienced player in Jermaine McGilvray.
Reasonable distance to where it was.
Goes for the intercept. He's got the advantage, but can't resist the temptation.
No advantage
to just offload it back inside.
But the pass from Lolohea, though, doesn't come off. It's a very ambitious and long one there. He's trying to find the winger Ken Seo on the outside in space. And the team need a break, and Huddersfield need one at the moment. They need this game to change because they've not been good in the opening 10. Interception is usually the best hope for the winger, but he couldn't go the length. It's Salford who will attack.
The pressure's still on the Huddersfield defence then. We could yet see Niall Evans, Phil. Here is the fullback trying to skirt round the Giants' defenders. But they're equal to that challenge. Chris Naninu now. Direct running centre, the former Catalan and Widnes man. Well, he's been around, has Chris Naninu. Rugby union in France as well. He plays the ball. Nakumbawai leaves O'Brien on the ground.
When you see someone who puts their arm up like O'Brien does, then they are absolutely out cold. Big Fijian front rower certainly ran his weight then, didn't he?
Well, it's a bit similar to what we saw last week, and for the viewers who tuned in and watched St Helens and Warrington, the young hooker there, Aaron Smith, He obviously received a head knock. The game stopped for a significant period. He was taken from the field, but the great news is that he'll be fine and make a full recovery. There's no serious injury involved, and we all hope, sat here, that the same situation for Aaron Smith, who's pound for pound one of the bravest and best tacklers in this game, in this country. He's got his head in the wrong position there, bumps off the hip very hard, isn't it, on a player like Nakumbuwai, who twists and turns in the tackle.
Good defensive players get it wrong, don't they?
And his head hits the floor as well quite hard. And we hope that he's okay, Adam O'Brien. The minute he's receiving attention, they do have options on the bench, the Huddersfield Giants, but he just tried to get up quick, cut the space and time off the big Fijian, and ends up, night, God bless, he's fast asleep.
Cruz Lehman now, he's already trying to get onto the field. He's just on the sideline waiting to make sure that his teammate Adam O'Brien's okay. Been well cared for by the doctor, the physio.
Well, at some point Huddersfield generally rotate these two, don't they? O'Brien comes off for a rest and Leeming on to take over, but that generally happens a little bit later on in the match. Just checking here for any spinal damage or spinal injury, but that's usually ruled out, and then hopefully the player will be up and taken from the field. The only action really, the one chance we've had so far in this game was by Salford. You didn't think really, with three players around him, that McCarthy could score from this position, but each one of them seems to think that the other one has taken care of it. It's brilliant second effort. Not resisting to accept that you're tackled and stopped is what McCarthy does remarkably well. And then the control with the right arm to reach out and ground the ball in front of the referee. Excellent start for Salford.
I think they've signalled for the stretcher to help 25-year-old Adam O'Brien from the field.
Well, he's generally one of Huddersfield's best tacklers. He pulled off a tackle early on, didn't he, earlier in the game on Greg Johnson. Almost cut him in two. Huddersfield supporters here. Hasn't been a great start. Seen one of their heroes hurt at the beginning of the match.
It's not been a good start at all. Conceding the try, conceding penalties, possession, and
valuable field position for the club. Do you know, like I said before, when you're down at the bottom, you don't know how to get to the top, and you just seem to be firefighting constantly. The fans are turning up to try and support them and help them out of this hole that they're in at the minute.
Well, I've got an opportunity where we just have a breaking play to ask you where you thought Salford might end up. I said that all of us thought they wouldn't end up in the top 5 playoffs. I mean, Barry, just confirm where you... I said second last. I thought London would finish bottom and Salford would be 11th at the start of the season.
I had a look, and it's interesting at this stage, round 21, you just go back and look at your thoughts before a ball is kicked, as we see a lovely sign there. Petro Dixon, and everybody's just paying their ultimate respect. But yeah, just going back out of interest to see where teams were. And yeah, I thought Salford would be second from bottom, but I agree, Ian Watson has done a fabulous job with what he's had. And we often talk about coaches and what is the definition of a good coach. Well, for me, it's doing the best with what you've got, and Ian Watson has continued to do that.
Simon Wolford saying ahead of this game that Huddersfield, meanwhile, are in no position to make the sort of transfer moves that could help them at this stage of the season. Other sides have been doing that, Salford notably. But Simon Wolford's hands are tied, really. He's going to make do with what he's got, including a very youthful side. I mean, the senior twins, 19 years of age. Darnell McIntosh, 21. Jake Wardle, 20.
Yeah. Do you know, considering they've got so many youngsters, though, you wouldn't think there'd be high earners within the squad. So maybe when they're negotiating contracts, they might ask to bring Michael Carter in and Chris Chester, who seem to get the most out of what they do with the money at the club. And if they haven't got that room on the cap to bring anybody in, obviously some players must be getting too much money, and younger players are not getting enough money. There needs to be a decent balance.
More Super League action coming up tomorrow night, and a big game at the Menderhose Jungle where the Castleford Tigers host the Leeds Rhinos. That's on Sky Sports Arena. And there's action from Perpignan, 5 o'clock Saturday. Sky Sports action with the Catalan Dragons up against Wakefield Trinity. And still, Adam O'Brien, the Giants hooker, is being treated and just coming, I think, off the field very shortly when they get him onto that stretcher. It's aboard.
Again, we said it last week, we'll say it again this week. Whenever there's an injury on the field, doesn't matter how long the game stops for, as long as that player is okay, receives the medical attention that he needs from the doctors, the physios, from both sides that have gone on there to make sure that Adam O'Brien's getting the best care.
While we're just seeing O'Brien being treated, we mentioned it in the beginning. There's Ken Davey, concerned Giants owner. We saw Martin Gleeson having the shirt presentation, and this his final game before he goes off, and following Sean Long into rugby union. And interestingly, Martin Gleeson going to Wasps. In fact, I think he starts next week as an attacking coach, working for Di Young, once a Salford player. But Sean Long, Martin Gleeson, they're now looking for their attacking skills.
I played with David Young here at Salford. I never remembered him going by the name of Di until he moved back down to Wales.
Are you going to tell him that to his face?
No, he's massive. But two great players. Everyone you talk about Martin Gleeson within rugby league say how good he is as a coach, how he breaks the game down, he makes it seem so simple. And a lot of players would have benefited from the likes of him and Sean Long, how they've passed on a lot of the skills and vision for the game and how it should be played.
Deep thinkers about the game as well. Both of those players played in that fabulous St Helens side that attacked with great threat, and it's no surprise that rugby league, again, I think the point that you make is a good one, Bill. Back in the 90s, rugby union raided rugby league because they thought that the defence and the structures and understanding of how to defend a game of rugby was something they wanted to tap into, and now they're doing the same with attack. But I don't blame anybody with the coaching qualifications or coaching ambition, testing themselves in either quarters. We see Luke Robinson, the assistant coach, Huddersfield Giants, brought into the coaching staff. Former Salford player as well, of course.
Adam O'Brien on the board, ready to come off. Salford players just trying to keep loose, one or two of them jogging on the spots.
Yeah, it's important they keep their focus as well. We got a shot of the sideline. We've seen Aileen Mills, who's match commissioner this evening, looking after that sideline, making sure everything's going as it should be according to the rules and regulations, and obviously under difficult testing circumstances like this, the protocol is followed, and hopefully that player is okay.
We'll be checking on Adam O'Brien's condition. Simon Wolford, though, really has got problems galore at the moment. Numerous players out injured, and now his first choice hooker has left the field.
And starts the game probably ahead of Cruz Lehman because he is a good defensive player. Cruz Lehman now has got to do more in defence, more in attack, probably play out for the next 71 minutes, because
this is when you find out
Adam O'Brien back, don't they?
This is when you find out whether your team really do have a fighting spirit. Huddersfield under pressure, on the back foot, lost a player. Now what have you got?
So play resumes after that lengthy stoppage, and here is Josh Jones, and Huddersfield have got to be on their mettle because Salford are threatening again. Referee Robert Hicks says held, play it, he barks out in his instructions, and this time the Giants' defence is looking more like it. Here is Hastings now. Hastings with a little grubber kick, ricochets, and I think it's Mellor who gets there first for the Giants, so they breathe a sigh of relief, and Akuma Tai brings it away.
Well, good signs of Akuma Tai just running hard onto that ball. Sometimes you've got to rip up the playbook and just tuck the ball under your wing and try and get a win early on in the play.
Go 3 dummies, let's go, let's go.
Cruz Leeming making himself heard already on the field, appealing to referee Hicks. McGilvray, little stumble. Here is Aaron Murphy, really committed to the Giants' cause. 3 different roles in the last 3 games for Murphy, in the centres, at loose forward, and in the second row. And that kick from Mellor is fielded by Niall Evalds.
Well, it wasn't a kick that went into the corners to try and trap the wingers in box 1 or box 3. They go to the middle, no real pressure on Niall Evalds. Now, can they come up with some pressure here on the man who's going to carry the ball?
Johnson's lost it. Referee says that's a knock-on.
I would like to say, I don't understand how that is a knock-on when it goes backwards.
Well, it's because the tackle's complete. He's lost it after the tackle's complete.
The tackle wasn't initially completed, so it was playable.
Has he lost it because he had a hand under his armpit?
Whenever a ball spurts out like that, I have to ask a question: was it helped on its way? It's been given to Huddersfield, and they'll get a valuable go at the line.
Well, I think there's a hand in there, but I don't think the hand pulls the ball out. I think it's him trying to clear the ball that makes the ball come out.
Right, Huddersfield in their best attacking position so far in this game, and here is Jake Wardle. Missed the last 2, so he's back in the side. Leeming, the small group of Giant supporters urging their side on. They're about 20 metres out now. Leeming to Clough. Here is Gaskell. Gaskell trying to wrong foot the Salford defence, but they're dancing with him, and Leeming takes the pass, and Murphy almost finds a way through. Brave from Aaron Murphy, because the arms were up high on him. Leeming, Holmes, senior to another senior. It's in his senior on that far side. Here is Tom Holmes. Ikehefo comes across the field. The ball's batted down and picked up by Jackson Hastings, and Salford will counter with Wellham.
Well, straight into attack mode, and Salford in attacking through defence, attacking when they have the ball. Just play off, nice go forward here. Looking for the end result, which is getting over the try line up at the other end of the field where they were under pressure.
Ken Seo plays the ball. Here is Gil Dudson. The big Welsh international missed just 1 game this season as the prop forward. Joey Lussick, Ben Nakumbuwai, Jackson Hastings now to Josh Jones. Jones flicks the ball out. It hits a Huddersfield hand. 6 to go, says the referee. Here is Nakumbuwai. Murphy down low. Clough stopping him up top. Lussick now. Dudson will drive it in again, and barging back the Giants defenders. And they're back on their own try line now, Huddersfield, as Lussick sizes things up. McCarthy looking for a second. He's held up over the line.
Well, good defence from Huddersfield Giants. Nice pass selection there. Salford choosing the short pass. Front door option again, and McCarthy held up over the line.
So Lussick, this time they go wide to Lolohea, and Krishnan Inu looking for his first try for the club, but will be denied it.
Good effort from the youngster in his senior. It was, who clamps that ball and doesn't let the former New Zealand international get the ball down.
Inu was held up. Here's Lolohea, puts a little kick in, the ball ricocheting, and eventually batted over the dead ball line by Lee Gaskell.
Well, talented player, isn't he, Lolohea? Goes at the line, and the coach knew exactly what he was getting when he signed him. Look at this effort here Holds him up.
It's Tom Holmes, isn't it, who holds him up? Amazing tackle by the scrum half.
This is a great kick, isn't it? Call for it, Jackson Hastings. Putting pressure on Gaskell, who wasn't going to take any chances whatsoever. Knocks that ball out the field of play.
10 lead.
First goal line drop out of the game. Tui Lolohea looking for more game time here at Salford after his Leeds experience. Now here's Nakumbawai. So lots of pressure from Salford in the early part of this game. They've got the try, the only try so far from McCarthy. They've come close on a couple of occasions. Ian Watson, pensive on the sidelines. Hastings, Lolohea this time connects over the top and does hit Kensio. And Kensio extends the Salford Red Devils lead, claiming his 8th try of the season. That's what Tui Lolohea was trying for when we saw that pass that McGilvery intercepted. This time he got it right.
A much more measured option there on that last pass, but it was off the back of the kick he puts in. Building pressure over the last 2 or 3 minutes has created this opportunity. Lots of players running into space, lots of options, and he just plants it over the top. Kensio has a simple option, but well constructed by the Red Devils.
Their attacking shape that Salford set up is Jackson Hastings, Tui Lolohea and Niall Valls all hiding behind the ruck. Then they fan out, and Tui Lolohea, he will throw that ball. And he's not fazed by throwing it through before it was intercepted by Jermaine McGilvery. He throws it on that occasion, it sets up a try.
I think ambitious was the word that you used, Bill, when he threw that ball over 2-3 players. Jermaine McGilvery intercepted it, but on that occasion, the right option, the right execution, and it results in a try.
Right, here's Chris Naninu, who hasn't missed many goals this season. He's missed one already tonight. This one a much more difficult prospect. From the sideline, and he's pushed it across the face of the posts. Shake of the head. 8-0, Salford lead.
Well, they have had control, haven't they, here? They've had 3 chances to score and scored twice. One time was Chris Naninu, held up over the line by Tom Holmes' brilliant tackle. But for all the dominance and all the control and how easy they've made it look, they are only 8-0 ahead. And it's important in their minds here now that they don't think, oh, we've got this game, it's easy, we're in complete control, because you watch so many games of rugby league where teams score 2 tries, gain control, then just drop the concentration. And Huddersfield are just searching here, hoping for an invitation back into the match here. A glimmer of hope or an error here in this set.
Well, the Giants need to regroup, settle down after that loss of Adam O'Brien.
Move now. Hold. Wait. Go.
And Salford with Greg Johnson.
2.
Once a Huddersfield YMCA rugby union player, Greg Johnson, before turning to rugby league. Now up against Huddersfield Giants, struggling Huddersfield Giants. 10th in the table, one of those 4 sides on 14 points, enduring an anxious end to the season.
That was a good pick-up from Joey Lussick.
Hastings launches that one high. Senior comes for it, loses it. Second knock on by Nakumbawai.
And then knocked on. Shot clock on.
Well, targeting in his senior, aren't they? Get some height on those kicks. Jackson Hastings, he goes up, he targets the same man. Chris Naninu looking to tap the ball back.
It was a good end to the set, but talked about the spine, didn't he, John Wells, in the studio before the game. Evalds, who's a try scorer, Lolohea and Hastings, who can provide. But Joey Lussick, he's the person that stitches it all together, knows when to run, gives good service from the back, and they have a wonderful understanding. Jackson Hastings and Joey Lussick, housemates, of course, as well.
Go on.
Here's Kumatai now. One of the few big men left for a Huddersfield side that really has been hit by injuries. Michael Lawrence is out there. He'll try his hardest.
Good, well done.
because he is the Giants' longest serving player.
That's good, isn't it? To come out of Tom Holmes, taking on the defenders, running at them and almost getting through.
Holmes plays the ball. Here is Paul Clough. That's the 5th tackle. 30 metres out. And Holmes lobs that one towards the sidelines. The ball's batted back. Still on the last, says the referee. So another kick comes in. And Hastings fields it. Shapes to hand the ball off. Looks for the penalty.
We've had 19 minutes here, haven't we? And Huddersfield Giants haven't fired a shot in anger. 82% according to our records. That's what the Salford Red Devils are completing at. So they get into the back end of the sets. They're forcing Huddersfield Giants into doing much more defence. And then when they get the ball, their energy levels are low. And it's fairly blunt in terms of their attack.
Bit of sting in those last 2 tackles from the Giants. Huddersfield appealing for obstruction there. Referee not seeing anything wrong with that. So Hastings thumps the ball downfield. And Huddersfield try and bring it back from way deep in their own half.
Bill, and start winning these small little battles with Salford. See that Josh Jones over the line, advances line quickly, and Jackson Hastings is getting on the attack.
Another mistake from the Giants, and another one that could be punished. It's penalised.
Jermaine McGillivray, just as he's trying to break free from defenders, loses possession. One of the most experienced back after missing the last 3 games. Quality player, just like this man.
The Knots going for 2, resisting the temptation for easy points. Instead, they think they can profit again. Is Nakumbawai. Bang in front of those posts now. Lussick to Jackson Hastings. Hastings trying to weave his way through and then use some strength, and he's got plenty of that as well. Good leg drive from Jackson Hastings. But he's right on that try line. Lussick under the noses of the Huddersfield defenders. Lolohea, Evels. Oh, Seo couldn't take the pass.
Well, Joey Lussick, they go to that left-hand side because his delivery of the ball, when Jackson Hastings is behind or playing the ball, it's right on the button to Ilola here. Now Laval's looking for the winger, Ken Seo.
It looks to me like they've done a bit of work during the week and identified that wingers might just leave a player on the edge, so they're trying to find that player on the edge. Ken Seo it was on that occasion, but as we watch the replay, it looked like Chris Wellham was the better option, the more simpler option. May not have resulted in the same basic mistake. Huddersfield Giants again working away from their own try line, as they have done for most of this opening quarter.
Well, we saw Adam O'Brien go off with that nasty knock after that tackle on Ben Nakumbawai, and Angela Powers has got news on the Giants player.
Well, they've still got a minute and a half or so of the concussion time to wait out in the changing room, but I can tell you now that he's not going to come back on. In fact, he only just came round a few minutes ago. He's been out cold for quite a while. There was some talk about taking him to hospital for a moment, but it looks like he won't have to do that. But definitely not coming on this game, and the question mark will be over whether he's available for the next week or so.
Thanks, Angela. So O'Brien out for the rest of the game. The Giants down a man, and a long way to go in this match.
Straight the substitutions for Simon Wolford. And all these players put themselves through it every week, where that they go into tackles, carrying the ball, defending.
Greg Burke. Oh, Burke's met by Aaron Murphy, and Murphy really does punch above his weight.
He's got to be one of the toughest players in Super League. Probably gives up 30 kilos in an awful lot of the contests that he goes into, Aaron Murphy.
No, Tez, the toughest player in the game at the minute is Joe Westerman. He's going to have that trophy. He's going to have it for the rest of the year, that lad.
Hastings, another kick, and Senior, Innes Senior claims the ball. And they get the penalty to the Giants, so that's a relief for them.
Well, shows a bit of energy, doesn't he? The youngster. He's hit by that man. He's been tested. With the majority of kicks that have gone up, they're trying to land them on top of Innis Senior. He does well, he comes up with it. Look at him, he's fighting to get up. You want to see that as a coach. Simon Wolford knows that his youngsters who go out there have been given the opportunity, given the jersey to try and help the club out of the situation that they're in the minute.
So the penalty takes them close to the halfway line, not quite into Salford territory, but it's progress for the Giants. They are only 8-0 down. They've really been under the cosh, but they've only shipped 8 points. It could have been a lot more, but Clough has lost the ball.
Getting driven backwards then, Clough. And because he was a dominant tackle, he's looking for the offload. He's looking to get his arm free. He's looking to try and offload the ball. Look at that, he just tries to pull it out and give it. It's not on sometimes when you're driven down. You've got to get to the ground quickly.
And that's the third occasion now, I'm going to say, ill discipline with and without the ball. And I make it now that over 50 tackles more Huddersfield Giants have made in this game because they've given possession away. They haven't respected the ball. They're trying to overplay. It's a difficult offload to get away from Paul Clough. You see why he's going to do it. He's trying to help his side. He's trying to create an opportunity, but it's just not going right for the Giants at the minute.
Josh Jones, he'll be wearing the black and white Hull FC next season. One of the Salford players on the move, and there's quite a number of them on the road at the end of this season. Changes all over the shop in Super League in terms of personnel. Inu was looking to get the pass away. We really haven't seen Eccles firing yet. Surely only a matter of time. Here is Lolohea. McCarthy.
Move now, goal line. Hit that line. Stay square. Go.
Lussick. Again, they're coming to this side. Wellham trying to move it on quickly. And the referee says that's going to be the turnover.
Well, good read from Jermaine McGilvray. When he comes in, and now Ian Watson barking out the instructions, what he wants.
Hold, go.
Well, it's amazing to think Huddersfield are still in this. Sorry, you're going to explain that.
But I just think it was a forward pass into the Huddersfield player.
Well, look, that's a bit of spark for Huddersfield now. Number 36. Oliver Wilson's just come on the field. His team has been given a penalty. 2 young blonde substitutes on the field here now. They've tried to bring some life. You said that the Giants side have had to do a lot of tackling, Barry. I understand that, but considering that, the way they've played, to still be in this contest, you can play poorly for the first 25 minutes of the game and still come back to win if you're only 8 behind, if they have some belief here now.
I agree, Phil, but they've been nowhere near their opposition's try line, have they? What we had 26 minutes. Might get a bit of spark coming on off the bench, as you say, 2 young, enthusiastic forwards, but it's going to take a bit more than that.
Great line there by Wardle. Left centre coming over to play on the right. Players playing in non-traditional positions has to be a way of outfoxing your opponent's defence.
Here is Oliver Wilson crawling his way towards the Salford line and then having a shove on Greg Burke. No respect. Here is Alex Mellor. Mellor brought down by Lussick. Leeming puts the brakes on and then changes direction, but it goes behind English, and Matty English takes on Ryan Lannon. Lannon gets a grip of him.
Release! Go last.
Only 10 metres away, that's the 5th tackle. Lawrence, the ball goes backwards, it's 6 to go, says the referee. Oh, dear me.
Oh, he's caught in 2 minds then, isn't he?
Lewis Senior it was.
There's a hand assault from a Salford defender who knocks the ball down. Look at Cruz Leeming. This is where he's dangerous. This is when he's exciting. And the first mistake the referee saying has come off a Salford hand.
Well, it was the original knock-on that took it back to 0. It's deemed as no advantage, and so Huddersfield get penalty.
It's a sigh of relief from Lewis Senior, who I think was just about to put the kick in because he thought it was the last tackle. Then
he realised he had another set.
Yes. Phew. Can they profit now, the Giants? Can they close the gap? Jake Wardle, but Good tackle on him by Johnson. Leeming, Akumatai. Closer still they get to the Salford line. Leeming maybe fancying his chances. Short ball for English. English driving for the line. He's driven back by the Salford defenders. Is he? Says Michael Lawrence and the Giants players. Robert Hicks isn't certain. He's awarded the try, but needs confirmation from Ben Thaler that Matty English has got that ball down.
Well, that's how you'd inject yourself into a game. I think both Oliver Wilson and Matty English, the man who thinks he scored the try that will help the Huddersfield cause, all he did then was run hard. Surrounded by defenders, does he get the ball over the line?
Well, it's gone up as a try, so Robert Hicks thought he did.
Well, that certainly looks like it's over the line before he pushes it forward.
He's looking to see if there's a double movement here. He first of all wants to see if the ball's short of the line, because it's definitely moved forward after that. But does it land on the line first? That's what he needs to try and find out.
Well, very difficult from those replays to disagree with the initial thoughts of Robert Hicks.
Well, Robert Hicks has probably got round to the back of the ruck and seen that the ball is on the line. He wants to know what's happened before that. Was it short and then move forward?
I think it's on the line there, and then there is a little bit of a movement there, but I think it was already on the line though. Yeah, he does push it forward, Stuart, but when he goes there and he gets the ball down initially onto the turf, I think that was enough. And the reason why he gets in that position anyway, he ran hard. He was willing to word a tackle, he was willing to get clobbered by a Salford defender, and then now has he got the rewards.
Ben Thaler's the video ref, having a good long look at this one.
I don't think you can disagree with Robert Hicks initially. There's nothing to prove otherwise.
That's it. It's a very close call, but you've got to go with the referee's on-field call, I think. I don't think you can say that he's short there, and we know that the ball
you were
ends up
right,
on the
Phil.
line.
The live call.
You were right.
The live call straight away would have been the best one for me.
Well, he does ever so well, doesn't he? And like I said, Matty English, Oliver Wilson got involved in the set leading up to this field position.
There has to be a maximum number of times you can look at it. I mean, for the people watching at home, for the people in the ground, there's an element of boredom setting in now.
Well, they might be put out of their misery, because Ben Thaler has reached a decision, and he agrees with Robert Hicks, and Matty English gets his second try of the season, and Huddersfield are on the scoreboard. Kick to come from virtually in front of the posts, and they have been miles apart in this game, and yet they're only going to be 2 points apart if Gaskell can kick this goal.
Well, that's
assuming it's Lee Gaskell.
I'm assuming he's going to put this over here. They've shown a resilience here, haven't they? They've been outplayed, but they've hung in there. They've defended the line well enough. They've scrambled. They've kept Salford out on a couple of occasions on that last play. And they'll be 2 points behind you with half an hour of this game gone. Bouncing back to halfway line, with a refreshed attitude and appetite.
Gaskell is on target. That one's actually gone out of the ground, almost into the ship canal. And Simon Wolford, well, he can be proud of his side's resilience.
Well, that's the sort of fight he wants to see from his side. He's absolutely carrying his job out to perfection there, Matty English. He picks out the Cumber White, goes straight at him. Look at all those Salford defenders, and the youngster still manages to get rid of them and give Huddersfield a chance in this game.
So just 2 points in it, 8-6. And here is one of the Huddersfield replacements, Matty English, who have made such an impact.
Good response there. Move, Chris!
Doing well. They've got so many players out injured. Have the Giants senior players at that. Cudjoe, Turner, Huarte, Frawley, Wall, Matangi, Oliver Roberts, Ferguson. So it's down to people like Matty English to really carry the cause.
Well, it strikes me for the first time in probably 20 years, they've now started to develop some of their old players and do it really well. I've no doubt they've tried for a long time, but they've got some success. All of these young names on show here. clearly showing that they've got the potential to play at this level as Evans takes that one in. But Len, look at the chase, what 6 points does to a chasing team here. You know, sprinted up there to close down Evans instantly.
Here is Greg Johnson, who has had a warm welcome from the Giants defenders on his first appearance of the season as Greg Johnson. Inu now.
It's amazing what a try does feel like. The urgency and the effort that you've got to get on the back of something like this. So Lee Gaskell sticks it high, and then look at that wall that's met with Evans then in front of him. There's nowhere to go. It's a skirty placement underneath one of those high kicks.
I should imagine scathing criticism from your coach has a pretty big effect in terms of incentive.
Yes, but also what he said is they've fallen away at the back end of games because of the things we've talked about, the indiscipline, handing the ball over, giving penalties away. Good take from the young fullback. It is interesting, the team selection with Lewis Senior at fullback, Darnell McIntosh, there he is at the back of the play the ball. He's in the centre position, so he's mixing things up, Simon Wolford.
Hold, go to.
And there's a bit of a spring in the Giants' step at the moment. After that try, seemed to have settled down after a shaky start. Innes Senior plays the ball. Here is McGilvray. Seasoned campaigner compared to those around him. McGilvray and Salford penalised.
Inu comes up with a good shot. It's good contact. He ends up on top of Jermaine McGilvray, but he is one strong human being, Jermaine McGilvray. Good luck trying to keep him pinned to the deck. And Robert Hicks doesn't like it, takes too long. And again, good field position for the Giants.
Indication of how things have turned around. That's 3 penalties in a row for Huddersfield. They were on the receiving end not so long ago.
Which means in the last 5 or 10 minutes they're playing on the front foot, and Salford feel the need to try and slow them down.
Lawrence plays the ball. Here is 20-year-old Oliver Wilson, the former Bradford Bulls junior. Leeming now, live wire player. Lawrence looking for his 50th try for the Giants. Lawrence, Wilson. 4 tackles gone. Salford on their own try line, in front of their anxious supporters. Gaskell puts a little kick in, and it pops up for Hastings.
Well, trying to dab it through behind the defensive line. Hastings was aware of it, but again, look what they've got to deal with here. Chris Wellham, Matty English that was leading the lineup, just sticks his foot out. Simon Wolford, knowing that that's not the kick that he was after, but they've got to contend with Salford now and compete with them.
First show of Greg Johnson's pace there, just a little glimpse of what he can bring. Good strong run from Ryan Lannon, back at Salford after a brief spell at Hull Kingston Rovers. Halfway line, Salford in possession. Hastings, here is Greg Burke. Seemed to be going so well for Salford early on, and they do still lead 8-6, but just over half an hour gone, and they are in a contest. Lollahea hoists the ball. Senior underneath it, Innes.
Hold.
Same end of sets again from Salford. And for the last 10 minutes since Huddersfield have been in this game, they've gone into this game tonight thinking, look, how do we make sure that we keep Jackson Hastings, Niall Lavelles quiet in the game? Well, what we've got to do is take the game away from them and play it down near their end. Turn the ball over on our terms, do all the little things well.
Leeming now, running at the Salford defence, making progress. Leeming, good run from the Giants hooker. 5th tackle though, Gaskell. High kick towards Ken Seo's wing. Seo has lost it, and Huddersfield have more pressure. That was high from Dudson by the look of things on McIntosh. Gaskell weaving his way towards the posts. Huddersfield looking to go in front in this game. What an unlikely scenario that would be. They've got the opportunity here. They've got the try. Innes Senior has got the try, and Huddersfield, who were on the canvas, have taken the lead. An extraordinary turnaround in this game.
Well, what a good finish from the young winger, Innis Senior, over on the left-hand side. All come about from the mistake from Salford. High up, Kensio goes. He has hold of the ball, but can't maintain that possession. Lovely movement here. What a wonderful pass right at the beginning from Tom Holmes. Gives a 3-on-2, 3 attackers, 2 defenders. Held up nice by Lewis Senior, who provides a pass to Innis to score that try.
Well, the bench has made a big difference for me. The senior boys celebrate, but Cruz Leeming running from dummy half, the go forward from English and Wilson, the kick pressure from Alex Mellor, who started the game over on the right-hand side, that forces the mistake from Seahawk. Well, they've certainly found the groove now in tonight's game, haven't they?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Well, they found a pair of senior citizens who combined very well there. Sprightly senior citizens. And they've put Huddersfield 10-8 up. And Gaskell with a tricky conversion now from out wide. Wants a Salford player. And he's just missed with that, not far off. 10-8, half-time, 3 minutes away.
3 minutes, guys. Accuracy.
Well, this is a quality try, isn't it? They managed to get the ball out. They thought Okulawa would be diving in at the corner. It isn't the Fijian international. It's a young man who they've developed themselves. He's growing in confidence as he crosses over the line there to take his team ahead by a narrow point of 2.
Stay on.
So Salford will be ruining those missed opportunities. What do we reckon? 3, possibly 4 opportunities they had when they really had Huddersfield on the rack. They didn't make the most of them. Huddersfield, to their credit, defended well against them.
I don't think they'll be panicking. You look at the completions, you look at the possession. Huddersfield have had limited opportunities to score, and they have scored. So if anything, it's about smartening up that defence. Mark Flanagan might well have been brought onto the field to shore up the defence and the communication now with a bit of fatigue just before half-time.
Leeming with the kick.
That's a big chase again from Huddersfield. Don't go away from what's worked from you. So now all of a sudden, Huddersfield are getting a lot of joy, getting a lot of wins from the little things, that the basics that you have to do in rugby league. Play out your sets, but ask questions, get to your kick and chase it really hard.
Here's Johnson looking for a bit of the action.
Play the ball, Greg.
Lolohea, Krishnan Inu now. Inu bumps off the first Huddersfield defender, Jake Wardle, but is then brought down. Hastings now. Hastings, but they're doing a good job to keep him under control.
Hold.
That's the 5th tackle. It's with Lolohea, who just belts that ball downfield. Lewis Senior gathers.
One.
Well, you're right, Bill. I just think that when he wellies that ball, he's just looking for distance, isn't he? He's not bothered where he's looking to place it. There's 3 players that got back for the Giants, cutting down those options for Lolohea when he kicked it.
McGilvray into the final minute of the first 40. Here is Michael Lawrence. Made his Giants debut in 2007. English, Akuma Tai, Dudson trying to get a hold of him. 10 metres in Salford territory, and Holmes will just go for the safe option with the clock running down.
Yeah, quite happy just to knock the ball off the field. Tom Holmes doesn't want to put the attacking kick up high in the air and maybe challenge Evans at the back, but Simon Walford, the way that his team have responded, the way they got back in this game in the second quarter, certainly make his half-time team talk easier, whereas in Watson, his team started well.
He does a good stern face, doesn't he?
He does. He'll be disappointed that the opening 30 minutes was all undone in 8 or 9 minutes when the Huddersfield Giants got over, first of all, with a simple try with the Matty English getting over, and then over in the corner with Innis Senior.
Evalds tackled. by the Giants defenders, and that's been a key element of their first half performance for Huddersfield, because they lost O'Brien, they conceded those early tries to McCarthy and Seo, and it did really look as though they were a bit at sea, this young Huddersfield side, but they have recovered well. They've defended staunchly, and eventually they've got their act together in attack. And this young Giants side have hit back, and they lead at the break by 10 points to 8.
Sky Sports Formula One on Sunday. Goodwood Festival of Speed. All the action from West Sussex. 2 p.m. It's round 21 of the Betfred Super League. We've kicked it off here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Playoff chasing Salford Red Devils trail at half-time against a Huddersfield Giants side that pre-game their coach Simon Wolford said were threatened by relegation. 10-8 at half-time. Looked to be dominated by Salford in the early exchanges before Huddersfield was roared back in the final 10 minutes of that first half. Let's have a look at the half-time match statistics. High completion rates for both sides, 85% for Salford, 81% for Huddersfield. Missed tackles incredibly low, just 6 apiece. Handling errors 7 apiece. Very even on the stats. Pretty even on the scoreboard as well. Some errant goal kicking has kept the scores down. Let's take you to the dressing rooms here as Ian Watson addresses his side here in the AJ Bell Stadium. And then 14 minutes into that match, there was an extended stoppage as Adam O'Brien was treated on the field, but for the first 14 minutes or so of action, it was all Salford. They led 8-0 before Huddersfield came back through the substitute Matty English and Innes Senior, who got his second try of the season. Simon Wolford's been scathing post-match about his side over the past month. I wonder what he will have to say in about 50 minutes time. All will be revealed. Joined by John Wells here in the studio. We looked at the match time statistics. We've seen the scoreboard. If you were to watch that game, and people have been with us, would probably give it 70% to Salford, 30% to the Huddersfield Giants. If that's the case, why have the Huddersfield Giants got a lead on the scoreboard?
I'm going to level an accusation here at Salford. I think they've been complacent. I think the way they started the game, they were so in control that it was just a matter of time before the points started coming. What they didn't reckon for was that bludgeoning comeback from Huddersfield Giants, particularly two impressive youngsters off the bench in English and Wilson. They
had a big impact. Let's take you 2 minutes into the game when Tyrone McCarthy gets through 3 defenders. Simon Wolford, you can imagine why a coach would get so frustrated at this level of defence.
Yeah, everybody going up top, nobody wrapping up the ball. That's a lack of communication. Don't forget long stoppage on 8 minutes for Adam O'Brien's injury. We wish him well before Ken Seo scored in the corner. 8 points to 0, everything going swimmingly.
All right, here's the comeback that you referred to. On-field call was a try. Video referee couldn't find any evidence to disallow it. Matty English gets the Huddersfield Giants up and running. They're just 2 points behind at this stage there, John.
Yeah, and then Innes Senior gets over for a try in the corner, courtesy of his brother operating in the full-back position this evening. We all thought Darnell McIntosh was the favourite to start there. They've pulled a swift one on everybody, I think, this evening, and he's teed his brother up very nicely, and he's teed the game up very nicely, I think, for the second half, because I think what looked like surgical precision from the Salford Red Devils has fallen foul to a little bit of sledgehammer tactics from the Huddersfield Giants. They found the direct route very effective for them.
Let's look at Salford at their very best. You're going to look at Ken Seo's try, but you want to look at the makeup, the foundations that were put in place by Salford in the build-up to this try.
Well, if you step out the way, I'll show you the most important part of this.
How far do you want me to go?
Just keep going. Keep going. You're not quite. So there's Jackson Hastings, Tuilolo here, and Niall Evalds, and that's that triumvirate that are really, really dangerous. We spoke about them pre-game. Those three working together. It's a set-up play. Now this one, Joey Lussick rather, sends Tyrone McCarthy through. But it's worth watching how this play unfolds, because this, on the 14th minute, came only 40 seconds or so before the 15th minute try for Ken Seo. We'll pick this up a play early, but you can see in the background as this goes, you've got And Brian, if you just take a step back out of the way again, so we can show this. So we can show this again.
Stripes,
These three, I'm looking for a promotion. These three all sat in there again, ready to set up the play. It's a massive indicator, and it's a nightmare for this right edge of the Huddersfield defence because they've got so many options. Here's the front line option they took earlier. That's Tyrone McCarthy. This time they go out the back to Jackson Hastings. We're going to take it on to when Jackson Hastings gets the ball and goes to the line. This is the key man for me. Josh Jones is through here, and he holds Lee Gaskell.
You've got to take him seriously when he's running straight.
You have to take him, even if you land on him. You've got other people who you need to recruit in your defensive line to shut him down. Jackson Hastings does the right thing. I think that what they've done there now is they've held a man, they've held Gaskell in. Look how he's trying to work now to get out and help his defenders. You're also starting to see developing that defensive line this nervousness from Jermaine McGilvray, who's starting to creep in, feeling that he's not got the cover on the inside that he needs. And because of that, when you take this on just ever so slightly to the point where Tuilola here has now seen that. He's still got options, by the way. He's got a lovely lead line there from Chris Wellham. He could arguably have scored with any one of these options, either the lead line, this out the back to Evalds, but because of that nervousness from Jermaine McGilvray, he's come in and he's tried to shut that down. He's seen, and he's had time to see, crucially, because of the setup play involved, Kensio on the outside. So that's a perfect example of Salford developing a play, and why I think that they will go on to win this game.
Okay, well, tell me a bit more about that, just briefly. They're behind on the scoreboard. You said pre-game you thought they would win. Huddersfield Giants certainly ended that game the more enthusiastic side. Tell me why you think it's still going to be a Salford win.
We spoke about Ian Watson at the start of the game. He asked me what his main thing was, what he brought to this environment. And I think above tactical awareness and ability, I think that he has got...
You said he was a nice guy.
He's a nice guy who's got the dressing room. And he's got 10 minutes in that dressing room now to tell his charges, listen, you're being complacent. You've been complacent. You think this win is guaranteed to you. I think you'll see a different Salford Red Devils. I think you'll see a lot stiffer defence in the middle. And I think you'll see more of that surgical attacking rugby that we like to see.
We will see how right you are in 40 minutes' time. There should be no reasons for Salford to be complacent. They can go as high as 4th tonight with a win here against Huddersfield, but they trail at half-time against the side of their last 4 games in Super League. Can Ian Watson motivate his sides to regather a lead and close out this game, or will Simon Wolford be the one smiling at the end?
Connor's underneath. No, he's got the ball, Tom. Maloney for Brazil. He's over. Tom Travoy of it. Goes into scoring second. Tedesco's flick past it. Here comes number 3 for Tommy. Then comes to Graham. He puts it proper in. Fredo Carr. They're lining up. And here comes another one. Now they get a chance to defend their crown in the decider at ANZ.
The decider in the Origin Series is coming up next Wednesday from the ANZ Stadium in Sydney, New South Wales against Queensland, 10 o'clock in the morning. Sky Sports Arena and main event for that massive game, the Origin Series decider. Second half coming up to decide this Betfred Super League game between the Salford Red Devils and the Huddersfield Giants. The Giants ahead 10-8 at the break. Second half ready to get underway.
Are you ready, Lee?
Referee Robert Hicks blows the whistle. Gaskell obliges, and Salford get first touch of the ball in the second half. A Salford side who had opportunities to take a grip on this game, didn't do that, and found themselves trailing at the break.
Well, Huddersfield have got 40 minutes to get themselves out of the relegation battle at the bottom. Oliver Wilson then just tangling with Gil Dudson. The youngster won't take a backward step, so there is that fighting spirit within the side.
Here is Dudson once more, does well to offload that. Here's Lolohea, here's Lannon. Lannon upended by Tom Holmes. Having a good debut for the Giants is Holmes. Here is Mark Flanagan now. That's the 5th tackle. And Lolohea just Again targets Senior, and again Senior is equal to the challenge for the Giants. Opportunity early in the second half to get the dressing room news at the break from Angela Powers.
Well, Bill, apparently the Salford coach Ian Watson tore the paint off the walls in the changing room. One thing he can't stand, he said, is the other team wanting it more than we do, and that's what Huddersfield showed in that first half. He's expecting a far better attitude from his team in this second half. Simon Wolford, the more happy coach in the second half, in the break, he says that despite that slow start, they did pick it up, and he thought the turning point was the introduction of the two blonde boys.
Well,
and that's one of them.
That's one of them, Angela. That's right.
Yeah, those two blonde boys, Matty English and Oliver Wilson as well. He said they injected a lot of pace and a lot of enthusiasm. That's what he was looking for.
And I think it's possibly why Gil Dudson took him out there. We've had enough of this young Mr. English.
Yeah, there's the target for him, isn't it? I'm a big fan of Matty English. Every time he plays the game, he's not the tallest, not the biggest, but he's certainly game, isn't he? See so many props these days just going at the line, trying to play out the back. And the old-fashioned props are going forward and getting a win and running as hard as you can.
Hold, go on.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's still doing his studies, is Matty English, sports science.
Move, get square, hold, Joey, hold.
But
hold, go to.
Huddersfield's lively start to this second half.
Well, that pass
Lewis
was on
Senior.
Then. Lewis Senior operating at full-back. If he could have found a pass, there's more space on the edge.
Little step from Lawrence. Dudson again there to make the tackle. Greg Burke in to assist. 4 tackles gone. Gaskell takes the pass and Hastings very quickly up on him. Flanagan there to close him down as well. That's the 5th tackle. And the kick will come in from Holmes. Putting pressure this time on the back. And McIntosh takes a Darnell. McIntosh gets another try for the Giants, getting up above the Salford defenders. Darnell McIntosh, normally at full-back, playing in the centres. Simon Wolford can hardly hide the smile because McIntosh, his birthday tomorrow, by the way, he'll be 22, has got an early birthday present.
Well, he cracks a smile, doesn't he, Simon Wolford? Because that man goes over. They get up the other end of the field on the back of a penalty. And it's a good kick, isn't it, from Holmes? And when the ball's in the air like that, it's a contest. As a defender, you've got to make sure that you can try and leap. You've got to get up high. But you're coming up against attackers who are on rushing. It's easier for them to get higher. And Darnell McIntosh, doesn't he do a decent job of climbing above that Salford player, Chris Wellham?
Well, there's a real worry here for Salford. Niall Lavelle, who challenges for that ball, gets a real whack in the face. It's the elbow of his opposite number, Darnell McIntosh. He's just about up onto his feet now, but a wonderful leap, take and try.
Well, Niall Evans is back on his feet, but that looks like a nasty gash around the eye. There is Darnell McIntosh, who's playing in the centres, which we heard before the game and thought unlikely, but that's where he is.
He's a player who can make things happen, and Huddersfield need to make this kick happen here for Gaskell. This is significant. They lead by 6. It's a tricky kick, 10 metres in from the sideline.
Gaskell has missed another one, and the kickers have not had a good night tonight. Have we had a successful conversion, Ian Proctor? Just the one from Lee Gaskell.
You know, this is something we saw a couple of weeks ago. You watched the London Broncos on a Thursday night. They contested the kicks better than any side I've seen in Super League for a while. And that seems to be the standard now. Every team, whenever given a chance, get up, get under, and contest the ball, which he did tremendously well. At the other end of the field, diagonally, 60 seconds or so earlier, Salford kicked and allowed the Huddersfield window to take it too easily.
Gaskell 1 from 3 with the kicking. Inu, none from 2. And somebody's going to rue those misses.
Them little margins that you get, the little, whether it's 2 points or it adds up to 4 or 6 points, certainly do help your confidence and what goes on between the ears.
Kumatai, strong run for him. He's been a rock for the Giants with this injury crisis. He's been ever present for the last 19 as the Tongan international. Here's Wilson. Burke very quickly up on the former Bradford ball player. Here is Gaskell, launches that one downfield, really wound up for that one, and goes all the way over the dead ball line.
Well, you can see that Ken Seal, he's dropped back into the fullback position for Salford. Ian Watson resisting the temptation to put Lulla here at the back. And Salford now devoid of energy, just not getting those basics right. Somebody needs to spark this team up. Because Huddersfield Giants in the opening 5 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the first half have outplayed the home side.
Well, surely you'd think Jackson Hastings is the man to spark a side up, wouldn't you?
You would, and it has happened all year, but players can't just look at that man and say, come on, you lead the way.
Here is Hastings now, trying to make something happen, for Salford. He has done, but Lollahea couldn't get to the ball, and it's picked up by Matty English.
Yeah, going on the second play, Jackson Hastings, you could see what he was trying to do. Kick the ball into the ground so it jumps up or bounces up into Lollahea's hands. It didn't do that, but that's the vision, isn't it, from the half? He's a running threat, like we said before.
He's a human jukebox, isn't he? You just put a coin in press play and hopefully comes up with some points, but it was close, but not close enough there.
But that's what Jackson Hastings can do, and that's why he is a very sought-after, and he can defend as well.
Do you know, he loves the contact, so he loves the contact when he's got the ball, and he loves the contact defending. He's also got that in his bag as well, the vision that he has.
I think his dander's up. I think he's taking this personally, Jackson Hastings. Gaskell again with a big kick into the arms of Johnson, and Johnson sees a bit of space to maybe run at the Huddersfield defence, but Jake Wardle makes the tackle. It's static.
Good line speed by Cruz Lehman, and the man who's got the number 9 jersey on gets up quick, pulls other defenders with him.
It's Lannon now. 3 tackles gone, this set of 6. Long way to go in this game. 8 points to 14. Huddersfield are ahead. Huddersfield, who lost to Salford in round 1. Looking to avenge that. Hastings, Wellham. That's good defence. McGilvray leaming there. Hastings once more, skips away. Hastings, little grubber kick. McGilvray can't control it. Wellham dives in, and Wellham claims the try.
I agree, I think it's a try, Bill.
It's a good chase, isn't it? And your man, Jackson Hastings, you said he's got to step up, Bill. He needs other players to follow him. He needs his teammates to get on the same page as him. On the last tackle, has pressure in front of him, goes back on the short side, dummies, steps, kicks the ball into the path of Wellham. Now, does he get hold of this ball? I think he does. There's a knock-on, a fumble from Jermaine McGilvray.
The ball's on the line, I think, Barry, isn't it? All he has to do is ground it.
Yeah, obviously the ball's come off Jermaine McGilvray there, and I think it's Matty English that's in front there. He doesn't want to play it. And the ball's short there, and then it's grounded. There's no problem.
Ben Thaler, the video ref. This time, no lengthy deliberation for him to make. And that is a painful try to concede for the Huddersfield Giants, because they have defended stoutly, but they've conceded a clumsy try there. And Jackson Hastings really has picked their pocket. Chris Wellham getting the try, his 5th of the season.
Well, there you go. Changes the point to the attack. Defenders are worried. Jermaine McGilvray is worried. Senior, I think all he had to do really was get down on the ball, not try and pick the ball up. It's going to be so difficult with Wellham coming at you, and you can see that Matty English pulling out.
I think it's the best short kick I've seen for several weeks there, because when you're running at players, to kick it as softly as Hastings did is incredibly difficult. Most players would have hit that too hard and too long. Well, Inu's got to hit this one hard. Hope it goes long, but it's the accuracy now that's the question for him. I know he's got the length.
He's been ever present in 15 games now since joining Salford from the Widnes Vikings has Chris Naninu, and he's been kicking the goals, and he's missed another one. Shake of the heads from Chris Naninu.
That's 6 points now that they've missed out on. Salford Red Devils. It can't be too hard on the replacement forward, Matty English. He doesn't want to give a penalty away. He thinks there's enough time for Lewis Senior to pick that ball up, who's at fullback. Difficult decision, but ultimately it was the attitude that Ian Watson questioned. He said, the side you're playing against wants it more, and I can't handle that. So go out and show me in the second half that you want it more.
Strong run from Greg Burke. I wonder how long Chris Naninu is going to have the kicking tee, because they have got alternatives. Ken Seo can kick goals. Lola here can kick goals. Jackson Hastings can kick goals. Joey Lussick.
I think he'll have them all night, Bill, because I think he's their best kicker, and I think they believe that as well.
Well, he has possession now, does Chris Naninu. Massive experience with 3 NRL clubs. He's played rugby union at the top level in France before coming back to rugby league. And here is Tui Lolohea. Gets the pass away. That's nice from Salford. Hastings. Here is Wellham now. Wellham trying to get outside Darnell McIntosh, but McIntosh with the tackle. So Hastings will kick crossfield. He's taken late, and the view of the Salford supporters, but referee didn't see anything wrong with that. And here's Wortle countering.
The thing that was wrong with that was none of the Salford players again contested the kick. They thought being close enough to its landing was good enough.
And Huddersfield quickly on the counter. Innis Senior plays the ball. It's with Matty English, the Billy Idol lookalike, at the heart of the Salford pack. Here's Cruz Leeming. Oliver Wilson.
Release, Craig. Go for. All right, Matt.
Wilson plays the ball. Here is Gaskell. Gaskell trying to accelerate through the Salford defence. The tackle is made. Here is Leeming now. Leeming ball over the top. McGilvray for the corner. Good defence. Bibby it is.
Fantastic work to bundle the England winger over the sideline. Matty English down the polar bear. What about Bill Idle? Billy Idle.
Billy Idle.
Billy Idle.
Generation
well,
X.
Remember Billy Idle, but maybe a bit before some of our viewers' times, but that
Still
is a
good tune. Still a good tune.
Which one? White Wedding or
White Wedding.
White Wedding, yeah. Fortunately for Matty English, he'll have to leave the field. Job well done.
But Paul Clough's the man who's going to be replacing him.
Yeah, Paul Clough's here now.
And he's been a consistent player since he signed 2017 from Bradford.
Stay here, hold here. On the cross, please.
So a game that's had its fair share of bumps and bruises. Adam O'Brien, of course, is off.
Move, get to
And Matty English off.
Oh, go, you good, Paul.
Niall Evalds with that nasty cut. Another casualty.
Move here, hold me.
Huddersfield holding on to a 14-12 lead, looking to give themselves a bit of breathing room at the bottom of the table. Salford looking for a win that would take them to 4th in the table, but at the moment they trail. Here is Dudson. We saw Niall Evalds go off. I think we can get news of Evalds, or is it Adam O'Brien? Angela?
Yeah, Adam O'Brien is out to the changing rooms now, and he's on the bench, but he's not coming back on, as we said earlier, but at least he's walking, talking, and he seems happy again in himself. Now Evalds is getting stitches in his face. Still a few minutes to go on his concussion assessment, and of course we've got Matty English as well, who's just started his. Let you know when we've got the news on them.
Thanks, Angela. Lewis Senior takes that high kick.
Move now, hold me. Hold, go on.
And after a shaky start, the Senior twins have stood up well.
They dealt with it. They had a skillful pair, Senior twins. High expectations from them. Salford now fighting in themselves. You know, it's a massive game as the season goes here for Salford to push for that top 5 finish, for Huddersfield to get away from the bottom of the table.
Leeming did so well to get that pass away there, under pressure.
It looked a risky pass, didn't it? They were trying to take meters away, Salford, in defence, but Huddersfield Giants at the back end of the set make the Red Devils pick the ball up on their own 10-metre line. Ended up really well for the Giants that set.
There's Jake Bibby on the bench at the start of this game. He'll be at Wigan next year. And that's a penalty to the Salford Red Devils.
It's one they needed because they struggled, haven't they, those two players, to get over that 20-metre line. And they needed the breather, they needed the chance to kick to touch here. Huddersfield just turning the tourniquet on them.
Huddersfield in a grim run of form. They've lost the last 4. They haven't won since that astonishing magic defeat of Hull FC, 55-2 at the end of May. Since then, Flaming June was very much that for the Giants. But can they turn things around in July? Here is Nakumbawai for the Salford Red Devils in possession. Lussick, Hastings now. Hastings for Ryan Lannon. Lawrence, Murphy and Akumatai doing the tackling. Greg Burke. 4 tackles gone, 20 metres out. Here is Hastings now. Hastings on to Lolohea. Josh Jones. That's the 5th tackle, and here is Lolohea. Lolohea puts a little kick in, and they'll get the ball back. Will the Salford Red Devils? In his senior it was, to the rescue for the Giants.
He reminds me of a Sevens player, Lolohea. When he's got the ball on his terms near the line, he'll ask an awful lot of questions. Not many halves like defending, but Lolohea is so skillful, so intelligent. Jackson Hastings knows what he's got as a half-back partner. Probably the only criticism, I think you said before, Bill, that he needs game time, he needs to get fitter, he needs to play. He will make mistakes, but he'll win you some games as well.
And that was a good understanding, good synergy between the 2 half-backs. One kicked, one chased, and it's a chance to build pressure. And the kick drop out now, they'll be in good field position and take a look at the Huddersfield Giants line. Something they haven't done too much in this second half.
Well, Salford looking to hit back now. In possession after that goal line drop out, but Lolohea has lost the ball. It's gone backwards. It's knocked on, says the referee.
Well, that play and that set was at speed. And they're trying to go at the line and fix defenders. Jackson Hastings, he knows that when he goes, he holds up a couple of defenders, trying to create that space on the outside.
Does that go back?
Well, his rule that he's run past the ball. His rules, the ball travels forward, so that's why he's giving us a knock on.
Lolohea furious with himself for that. His coach striding menacingly on the sidelines, Ian Watson. So Huddersfield have the ball back.
What you do on the back of a mistake, what's your defensive line going to be like?
They're making meters far easier than the Salford side. They're playing the ball a little bit quicker, and I'd say they probably have done for about the last 30 minutes.
Here's Aaron Murphy. Now then Holmes, been playing for Featherstone this season as Holmes gets the pass away to Wardle. They're about 25 metres or so away from the Salford line. Here is Paul Clough.
Last move, Ben.
Clough.
Leeming
takes him down the short side. Little chip kick ahead from Leeming. He'll go for the ball. And has he got the try? Inspired piece of play from Cruz Leeming, but did he run out of room? Referee reckons he got it down in time.
Well, he's got some pace, hasn't he? Cruz Leeming. So quick out the blocks. Can he get this ball down? Look at him, kicks for himself.
Spotty where Kensio is, isn't it? The fullback who's gone to the left. Puts it in that bit of no man's land and then just goes as hard and quickly as he can. Referee seems to be in a good position. We'll see from this angle. Is it a clean grounding? Without a doubt.
It's a great try.
That's good vision, isn't it, when he gets out from dummy half. He's got to be quick as well.
And Tez, I think you asked the question, didn't they, after a mistake? I think they were hard done to Tuileloa here. A judge to have knocked that ball on. From that set of possession, then Huddersfield Giants go all the way down the other side of the field and score a try that swings the balance of the game back in the favour of the Giants, taking advantage of a dubious call, in my view. But the Giants, well, they look good in this game, don't they?
What was dubious?
I don't think Tuileloa here knocked the ball on.
Right.
But those calls go with you and against you, and Tezzy's point was a good one. The reaction wasn't good enough, and a try followed.
It was Cruz Leeming with his 6th try of the season, and Gasco.
Oh, they've not been on tonight, have they?
That just adds to the tension.
Is it these floodlights or something?
They haven't got to hit the floodlights. They've got to get it between the posts. What are you talking about?
We all get to see hundreds of tries in Super League, even thousands. Here's the kick here that bounces off the upright and goes away. Just going back to the try from Cruz Leeming, how often do you see a hooker pick up and chip and chase for himself? I think you probably have to go back to the 80s, maybe somebody like Benny Elias trying it down in Australia.
One
it's a
from
rarity
7.
of a try.
One from 7 between the two sides.
Wow.
I think he's a tremendous player, Cruz Leeming. He got a really interesting background. Is it Swaziland he was born? Began playing rugby league in Huddersfield, come through the Giants system, played for the England Knights in Papua New Guinea in the previous off-season. Player I think Huddersfield Giants will do well to keep hold of and build a team around.
18-12, Huddersfield lead. Cruz Leeming likes scoring against the Giants. He's scored a try against them in each of the last, well, it's 3 seasons now. And there he is. That's Nakumbawai. There is Leeming.
Stuart, we've seen
really running the show.
Penalties here for hand on the ball. If for next season a possible rule change, if a hand on the ball, deliberately slowing it down, became an instant yellow card, what impact do you think that would have on the game?
Well, you may well end up with players going to the sin bin fairly quickly. And I probably wouldn't be surprised if we get to a stage where Robert Hicks is going to put the team on a warning soon.
Well, I wonder whether we'd see a dramatic reduction in penalties like that if players knew that the consequences for putting your hand on the ball, for a simple way of slowing it down, was 10 minutes in the bin. Maybe something for the Laws Committee to discuss at the end of the year.
McIntosh, difficult to stop, wiry player, Darnell McIntosh. McGill for a different sort of challenge for the Salford defenders. Strong running wingman. Here's Clough. Here is Michael Lawrence. And Huddersfield really do have their tails up now. Here is Leeming. They're coming looking for more points. They could get them here. They could get them here with a Kumatai. Try time for a Kumatai. Another video ref referral.
What a ball at the line. Akuma Tai in his 7th season with the Giants. Does he get this ball down? Yeah, there's not a problem with that. The referee, Robert Hicks, called that the ball just spilled out of his grasp, but picked his line, stayed true to his line. And that was a brilliant ball.
I think the video referee is just trying to see whether he keeps the possession there. I don't think there's a problem with this.
His hand looked on it to me, Stuart, on the other
From
angle,
the other
as well.
angle, which is what Robert Hicks had. Robert Hicks has the best view. He sent it up
As a try.
as a try.
It's gone up as a try. And again,
And that shows to me,
it's a clumsy put down, but I don't think there's anything there to disallow that try.
take you down the changing rooms later on, you can tell him that, Stuart.
Yes, you've just denied him his first try of the season. No, you haven't. Kumatai has broken his duck for this campaign, and Huddersfield have gone further ahead. This is incredible.
Sets up a fantastic last 20 minutes here now for this game, with Salford desperate to score, probably score 12 points here. Lovely attacking play, passing. Tom Holmes, I've been impressed with him. I couldn't wait to see him play when I saw him announced in the side here tonight. And he's delivered an accurate pass there to a teammate moving at pace. He's put some more points on the board here now. We'll probably extend this to 12 points.
Will it? Darnell McIntosh. As you see, the try scorer Darnell McIntosh has got the goal-kicking duties now and has found the targets. And Huddersfield have extended their lead, 24-12.
Well, it's a real skill catching a pass at the line, and Akumatai does that to great effect, but he benefited from a lovely line from Aaron Murphy. Keeps his line, attracts defenders, does it in such a way, in such a fashion, that he doesn't force one of those obstruction penalties that frustrates fans so much. So, well-executed try from the Giants.
It's been all about Huddersfield this second half.
Some real intent in the play, hasn't it? Salford still not done. Oh, in this game, still got another 19 minutes to go, and Tom Holmes just playing with the defenders.
10-8, they led at the break, Huddersfield.
If we break this game down, I'd say for the first 30 minutes, it was about Salford, and for the last 30 minutes, it's all been about Huddersfield Giants. Of good, solid work. At one point, we made it 51 tackles. They've done more in defence, but they put that effort in. Oh, as we see a mistake. Paul Clough doesn't think he's getting the ball, and it's a pass in front of him, with defenders in front of him. He's not skillful enough to pull that ball back in. His feet are all over the place, Paul Clough. He's trying to change direction. The pass is just in front. And valuable possession for Salford Red Devils.
They're not home and dry yet, Huddersfield. Still almost a quarter of the game to go. That's Ian Watson's view of the game. And he's looking for response from his side. Gaskell high on Wellham.
He throws the arm out, doesn't he? Lee Gaskell hits Chris Wellham over on the left-hand side. He tries to get between Darnell McIntosh and himself, but Salford got here.
Here is McCarthy, who set the ball rolling for Salford with that early try, which seemed to suggest that Huddersfield's defence wasn't up to the mark tonight, but it has been, and Salford's attack misfiring there.
Well, credit the winger Jermaine McGilvray. When he shoots in here, he cuts down the options for Salford. He makes the decision to come in and get Evans. Evans doesn't go for the pass, and Kensio slips over. But it's the pressure from the winger. And they were the sort of passes that Tuilola here was thrown in the first half, knowing that they have got a tendency to wedge in and cut down the plays.
And let's be fair, Niall Evalds had to leave the field. He had to have stitches in a gash in his face. It looked to me like he was putting his arms up rather than going for that ball, trying to preserve himself, as it looks like Matty English is prowling the sideline, getting ready to come back on.
Here's Lawrence for the Giants. And here's the outstanding Aaron Murphy. Castleford Tigers against the Leeds Rhinos tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock. Sky Sports Arena for that one. And Catalan Dragons against Wakefield Trinity is on Saturday evening, 5 o'clock, Sky Sports action. And looking further ahead, Leeds against Hull Kingston Rovers could be a massively significant game. Friday, July the 12th for that at 7 p.m. on Sky Sports Arena.
Well, this is a man here, Niall Evalds, who I thought before the match, I was saying, there's a great Britain tour at the end of the year. Is Evalds good enough to be in that tour squad? The speed, the flexibility of playing either wing or fullback. We've seen very little of this Salford #1 here.
Here's Jackson Hastings. Chris Wellham. Huddersfield scrambling to preserve their lead. Josh Jones. Salford have really got to raise their game in the closing 15 minutes or so. Hastings, Logan Tompkins. Nakumbawai thinks, I'll give the putt. No, I won't, I'll just charge at them. He's tackled, that's the 5th tackle. Hastings kicks cross-field. Inu claims it. Inu trying to offload it, but that's good defence.
Great defence, Bill. I think that's probably his worst kick of the evening, Jackson Hastings. It's a real stinker of a kick. Caught by Inu. But Huddersfield Giants right on the centre. He's been all over the field. Worked his socks off, hasn't it, Jackson Hastings, as he does every week for this Red Devil side. There's all kinds of rumours over where he's going. Wigan, the destination that most people think, but it hasn't lessened his commitment to this club while he's still wearing that shirt.
McGilvery plays the ball. Here is Darnell McIntosh, scorer of an outstanding try in this second half for the Huddersfield Giants. Now Clough, no-nonsense front rower Paul Clough, 31 years of age now, over 300 career appearances. The kick then from Holmes, looking for the sideline, doesn't find it, and Jake Bibby will run it back.
That's it, Bill. Just work your way upfield. They were going for the sideline. It was off a quick play of the ball from Paul Clough. He doesn't manage to get there, but then don't give up on the play. Ken Seaway trying to poke his nose through the line and play it quickly, but dominant in defence then from Darnell McIntosh.
Wellham. 3 tackles gone. Logan Tompkins off the bench and into action. Tyrone McCarthy, little skip from the Irish international. Now Hastings. Evans does that so well, just stops and change of direction from the full-back. And Dudson trying his hand now, taking him on, but Clough and Mellor with the tackle. Alex Mellor off to the Leeds Rhinos next season. Hastings puts a little kick in. Oh, Lannon was chasing, couldn't get it, and Huddersfield have it back.
An audacious offload. Tom Holmes, he's really imposing himself in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and Aaron Murphy was staggering in backfield, just receiving some attention. It was a kick from Hastings. There's the offload. Tom Holmes certainly brought some spark into this Huddersfield Giants second half performance. And a lot of fingers crossed that Aaron Murphy is able to carry on. Tireless work rate is where he picks up that injury, ends up with his head on the wrong side and almost trapped between the hip and the floor. Oh, it looks nasty, doesn't it?
He just throws himself into everything when he started off his career.
Niall Evalds is a mess as well, and Robert Hicks, while we're looking at that, Robert Hicks has insisted that Niall Evalds has got to go off, but he's actually getting patched up as we... Murphy, really competitive player. Sometimes you think too much for his own good.
He started his career off at full-back and on the wing. Did he ever think in years to come he'd be defending in the middle, throwing himself at everything?
Well, they've put a band on, but I'm not sure that's where the cut is. They've missed it. It's on his cheek.
Hold here. Wait for the...
Close enough.
Wait.
Wow.
Okay, mate, let's go. Go,
He's missed it. It's big, and it's red, and it's on his cheek.
move, Ryan. Get square. Go on.
Huddersfield in the lead at the AJ Bell Stadium, having been 8-0 down early on.
Hold me, Josh. Hold.
And seemingly heading for a 5th straight defeat, but my word, this has been a good response.
Well, can they close the game off now? You heard what Simon Wolford was saying after the Castleford loss 4 weeks ago, saying that we were 6 points up, there's a few minutes to go, we couldn't quite win. Why can't we win? Why can we not manage the game and where we are in the game?
Here is Matty English back in action after that head knock. And Gaskell, safety first, is finding the sideline. Huddersfield winding the clock down.
Yeah, well, that's all he's got to do, isn't it, Lee Gaskell?
12 to go, 12 points needed. It's a simple equation, isn't it, for the Salford side here, but you often see this with rugby league games. A team with no names, with no fear here, young players that Huddersfield have selected, little experience have come, eventually found the enthusiasm, the encouragement with one another. That endeavour needed collective effort here to get themselves ahead in here and in a very commanding position. This is a test now of the concentration.
Here's McCarthy. Kumatai with the tackle. Holmes.
Hold.
Bit of a lift from him.
Go two, stay responsive, set.
Tompkins. Lannon now. Back on familiar territory, Ryan Lannon. Tompkins. Oh, Dodson has put it down.
He's trying to pass that ball before he's caught it, Gil Dodson. You could see bodies outside him. He thinks he's simply going to catch that ball, put it behind a player, and there's a bit of action going on outside. It is possibly a bit too far out in front of him, but he'd be disappointed without the front rower.
But that's what the scoreboard does to you. Ian Watson, knowing that with 12 minutes to go, 12 points behind, they're looking to play. Those Huddersfield fans that have made the journey over, come over to try and cheer their side over to a win.
Lewis Senior plays the ball. Here is Lawrence now, winds up for a charge.
And they wind up for a drop goal, you'd think here with Tom Holmes or Lee Gaskell. I think he's the 1 point, he's number 6 on his back, he knows. They need one more point here to feel safe.
Ikahihi foe. Here is Lawrence once more. 4 tackles gone. And English right in front of those posts now. This surely is a great opportunity. They're going to go for it instead. They're going to go for it at the Giants. And just stretching out, they could have got it with Jake Wardle. Wardle might have got the try that decides this game. He has. 20 years old Jake Wardle has got a crucial try for the Huddersfield Giants. Salford again caught napping, maybe thinking there was a drop goal attempt coming, but Wardle and the Giants had other ideas.
Well, what a win this will be for the Huddersfield Giants, coming into this game with only 3 wins in their previous 10 matches. A good line from the centre, has hold of the ball, evades Christian Inu, and doesn't he do well to hold that ball up, keep it high, and put it on the try line. Wonderful stuff.
It's a fabulous outline from him as well. He gets the ball and he's got it in 2 hands. He skips out as Simon Wolfe, and look at the relief of the man who has been under pressure, but he skips out, puts the ball in his left hand and just gets rid of Chris Inu with his right. And Ken Davey, the man who's injected millions of pounds into this club to try and make him a force in the game.
McIntosh, 21 years of age, looking to convert from the sidelines. Has done so, a pump of the fist. And Huddersfield are on their way to a massive win in terms of their Super League survival hopes.
Well, you should need to score a good try to confirm a win, and this is one. It's a great try there. There's actually 2 defenders and 1 attacker, and he beats them both. In fact, 3 if you include the winger by the end. That's a fantastic finish for a young player. And that would confirm that they deserve to win this game.
I was talking to the Giants chief executive before the game, Richard Thewlis, who was speculating that maybe they got the youngest 3-quarter division in Super League for some time, with Innes Senior and Lewis Senior both 19 years of age, Jake Wardle 20, Darnell McIntosh 21, the old man of the combination, Jermaine McGilvray. And you look at the try scorers, and Wardle, the 20-year-old, has got one. McIntosh, the 21-year-old, has got one. Innes Senior, the 19-year-old, has got one. It's the future for the Giants.
Well, we've paid tribute to Andy Kelly, our great friend, who's put a lot of time and effort into this academy system. He's ably assisted with some of the scholarship and academy work by Steve Hardesty, and these players don't just turn up ready, cooked, as you might say, ready for action. They have to be integrated into the club, they have to be educated. They've done their job this evening.
Could it be the case, Barry, that they've been there in the last 10 years, but other previous coaches haven't given them a chance?
Yes.
You know, I think we could be possibly guilty of relying on big names instead of developing more of our own players.
I couldn't agree more, and I think if you look through this team, there's quite a few players that have come through the system.
I think he changed the game when Matty English and Oliver Wilson came onto the field in the first stint in the first half. really lifted up the tempo of the game. The go forward was there.
Salford looking for some consolation in the last 8 minutes. And their hopes of making a move for the top 5 not progressing on the back of this performance. Tompkins trying to find a way over. He's held up. Good defence again. Penalty. Not square, says Robert Hicks.
Resolute defence again from Huddersfield Giants. Can they hold out?
McCarthy has got a second. Tyrone McCarthy, who started the scoring, has come up with his second of the game. He's waited all season to get on the scoreboard. He's got 2 tonight.
It's 3 converted tries they need quickly, isn't it? The conversion, how quickly can he get this one over? It's straight in front for Inu. That's one of them. Well, we've seen it once before. Three tries in the last 10 minutes. I think it was St Helens when they played at Warrington. They've got close here now, and there's an element here with McCarthy going over for his second, twists and turns. Gets the Huddersfield fans a little bit nervous now. Referee stops the clock, of course, here now.
And Huddersfield taking their time to...
Yeah, the referee will stop the clock when the touches is getting into position, which is done now. And of course, in the last 5 minutes, the clock stops automatically after a conversion, which will help any team trying to get back into the game.
Well, 1 or 2 of the Salford fans, just in the background there, behind the Giants players, were heading for the exits, and I think 1 or 2 of them just thought, hey, hang on a minute, there's possibility. Seen stranger things.
2 tries in 6 minutes.
Stay onside.
What will they get here? They'll touch the ball. They'll have 4 more set to 6 maybe, at most, against Huddersfield.
Sorry, mate, I can't just talk all day.
So the Giants have got to be on their toes for the last few minutes here, because in Jackson Hastings, Niall Evalds and Ken Seo, Salford have got the firepower if the Huddersfield defence isn't up to the task. Here's Josh Jones.
Well, they've got to be determined now, haven't they, in the final 5 minutes of this game. They've got to get the bodies in front, they've got to hit hard, they've got to work together.
Dudson. Oliver Wilson, 20 years old, another of the youngsters in this side with the tackle. Here is Greg Burke. Burke, Logan Tompkins, Hastings back to Tompkins, Tompkins to Evalds, but Leeming was alert.
They're working hard for each other and not switching off on Evalds.
Here's Hastings, and on the last has to go to the air, and it's claimed by Inu. Inu gets the pass away, picked up by Bibby. Bibby's knocked it on.
And look at the shirts around, look at the Huddersfield Giants players around that ball. Even though Inu catches the ball,
Play the ball, Mike, please.
probably dribbles it on the floor to somebody, hopefully in a Salford shirt. But Huddersfield Giants around the ball. It's been a good performance, hasn't it? You scratch off those 25-30 minutes of the first half. My word, they've stepped up.
Wilson plays the ball, and frustration on the faces of the Salford players, hoping to repeat their round 1 win against the Giants, and they must have thought when they got off to that flying start that the chances of doing that were really good, but they've turned it around. Great run from Clough.
Yeah, that's what's worked for him, Bill, just running really, really hard.
Oh, he does well to keep hold of that ball, doesn't it?
On the line, shot clock on.
It's made a huge difference to this match, the bench from Huddersfield Giants. Lawrence, the captain, and his steadying influence, but Leeming, English, Wilson. Here's the big charge from Paul Clough, refusing to go down. 2 hands on the ball, legs pumping, 20 metres gained.
Huddersfield going into this game with just 3 wins from their last 10. And in fact, having lost 4 in a row. So this is a very impressive response to their problems, especially given the number of players they've got out of the side, the reliance on the youth element here tonight. And they've taken the wind right out of Salford's sails. especially in this second half.
Yeah, they've been good. Look at that, still working hard. And that's all for Simon Wolford. His side just needed to find a way to win a game, close the game down.
Here's Logan Tompkins. Salford still trying. But 3 minutes on the clock now. As they come on the attack again. It's with Wellham. Wellham gets outside, gets the ball back infield to CO. CO is in touch. And look at that. That sums it up from the Huddersfield Giants.
Bill, you've got to enjoy contact. And even when that ball was pushed out wide and going towards the edge, you'll miss a tackle. But you've got to react, you've got to adjust, you've got to get back in the frame.
Time off, stay in those positions.
And when the ball goes away, don't let your teammate down. Don't let that next man, the gap open up 3, 4, 5, 6 meters. Because then all of a sudden you let it open up, you turn the ball back inside, and they'll get you. McIntosh falls off that tackle, but then all of a sudden he's got to readjust and push Ken CO off the field.
Hold, go on.
So 2 points beckoning for Huddersfield, which will really boost their prospects of avoiding relegation. Still some anxious games to go, but puts a bit more pressure on London, Leeds and Hull Kingston Rovers down there at the bottom with them. Huddersfield with Catalan coming up next at home. A big game for them against Hull Kingston Rovers away after that. And then Leeds at home coming up for the Giants.
Well, I questioned them before the game. I questioned the character within the side.
Whoa, Gaskell bursting through the middle. And now a lovely try for Darnell McIntosh to wrap things up, his second of the game. Huddersfield comprehensive winners here at the AJ Bell Stadium. McIntosh into double figures for the season, and Gaskell's incisive break paving the way for McIntosh, normally at full-back, but benefiting from this role in the centres.
Well, Cruz Lehman again, the man at the forefront of just setting that ball up. Gaskell pushing up, and Darnell McIntosh, another youngster with plenty of admirers in the game, and Gaskell, well, he just pins his ears back, doesn't he, knowing that if he can get through, get his arm free, he's going to have some support on either shoulder. And Willie Porchin, Simon Wolford and Luke Robinson now on the sideline, knowing that this game and the points are going back over to Huddersfield. It's been a difficult time for them. They've been coming up with the big L's next to the name, but well, they'll take this win home with them. Maybe something to build on as well.
He got 2 tries in the massive magic win against Hull FC at Anfield. He's got 2 tries tonight, Darnell McIntosh. He's also got the goal-kicking duties at the end of this game to tag on 2 more points. 36-18, the Giants lead. What a second half it has been from them. 5 tries and 3 successful conversions from Darnell McIntosh. They have just blown Salford away.
Well, sometimes you put youngsters into the side because you're forced to because of injuries. Never really because of lack of form to a senior player. But give them a chance and let them go out there, learn from the mistakes. Let them learn on the go as well. And some of these players have certainly earned the stripes today, and to keep the place as well, even when some of those older players, the players that Simon Wolford will have at his disposal, it's going to be a brave man to drop some of these youngsters, I think. The way that they perform, the way they've stood up in adversity, and there's the smile that he's been waiting for.
This side has scored 36 points in 50 minutes to turn this game around. Last week, after the defeat against Wakefield, he was fuming with Simon Wolford. Well, he can be very proud of the response. Sometimes when you really lay into your side like that, it can be counterproductive. It's worked for him tonight.
Yeah, it can, and Brian Carney's shown 4 clips from the game, including the Castleford one where they've lost those games, and he just looked shell-shocked. Every clip from the games that, as they went on, as the weeks went by, he seemed to look more and more confused and obviously upset with the way that his team were performing. And I genuinely believe when you're a player and you go out there, whether you go on the